And we're back.
We're back, everybody. Welcome back to the only podcast on the internet that knows that the Cossacks work for the Tsar.
Good God. That's a deep cut.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's a deep cut.
I know.
Because we are doctors, not doctors.
Indeed.
I'm Dr. Silverstein.
I'm Dr. Armshaw.
And we're here coming to you from a new table.
Yeah.
You know, things are moving quite along here.
An entirely new setup. Our media empire is beginning to bear fruit.
Oh, yeah.
If empires can bear fruit, I actually don't know that they can. Could they hear that can of soda being opened, do you think,
We're going to find out.
Yeah.
They might.
All right.
They might.
All right.
All of us need a little bit of a boost here.
That's absolutely
Recording
true.
here on Sunday, the 9th of November.
Indeed.
In the United Kingdom, London, a jewel in the crown.
On a totally unrelated note, we were just having a fun conversation about date conventions.
Yeah, we were.
In America versus Britain. But that's really neither here nor there.
It isn't neither here nor there, or there nor neither here, depending on which way you put it around, because it takes a long time to figure out which.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I've been here since 2010. I've been here for 15 years, and I still to this day get caught out by two things. Number one, the fact that the sunset set 4 p.m. in the wintertime.
Yeah.
I know it happens. I keep getting caught out, and I look out the window and be like, when did it get so late? It's 4:30. Oh, God.
Yeah, it's not.
And the other thing, of course, is the fact that the day comes before the month in the British date system, and it's the opposite way around in America. So I keep forgetting which month it is, periodically.
Creates a problem because, you know, it works once you get to like past 12.
Oh,
the 12th day, right? Because there's no 13th month.
Exactly.
Smarch does not exist.
Exactly. Although I have been telling my member of parliament for decades that we need a Smarch.
Well, that's true. And keep on writing, because I know those letters are getting read. And other letters that are getting read are the ones that were saying that Andrew Mountbatten should lose his title.
Now, Chris, this Andrew Mountbatten you're talking about. Now, this is not a name that I've heard bandied about in the British media before. He just seems to have come out of nowhere, this Andrew Mountbatten.
Andrew Mountbatten, he's just popped onto the scene, just getting into he's just come off of a royal tour for the past 60 years.
But surely people who are on royal tours, they have titles like Prince or Duke or things of that nature, Chris.
Prince, Duke, Earl, something,
Is Mr. Mountbatten any of those things at the moment?
Not anymore. No,
I see.
Mr. Mountbatten used to be the Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, the third child. Second child?
I believe third child.
Third child, because it's
younger son of Queen Elizabeth II.
The middle son, because she has 3 sons and 1 daughter. She has 3 sons and 1 daughter.
Oh, is that right? Wait, there's a third one?
Anne.
No, yes, I know about Anne. I have seen The Crown, and obviously fell in love with the woman playing, Princess Anne, like the rest of heterosexual male Britain, and that's fine.
The rest of us. No, I'm talking about Edward.
Oh,
the Duke of Edinburgh now.
Well, well done, Nepo baby, I guess.
Well, that's the definition of monarchy.
That's a good point, actually.
So as we continue,
he's only king because his mum was queen.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
That's how it works.
Yeah.
That's how monarchy works.
Yeah.
So
no word of a lie.
We are, of course, just dancing around the kind of idea that Prince Andrew, the former Duke of Wales, a former prince of the United Kingdom, had all of his titles, royal titles, stripped of him last week, and that was the culmination of a kind of a several weeks long push, both internally by what we understand the crown or the monarchy, and also from, and this is what's important, Parliament.
That's right.
So Parliament, in 2 different legislative actions, have basically put down motions to say that he needs to lose his title. Now, the first one went down and this is not a big plug here, from Stephen Flynn from the S&P Westminster Group, from which I work.
Hey-o.
And it was a very simple one that said he has to lose all of his titles. They've also put one down like that for Peter Mandelson, because he's Lord Mandelson.
Yes, that's right.
A similar reason.
And
Rachel Maskell, who was an independent MP, formerly Labour, she put down a bill that she had put down in 2023, basically saying, and this is a very interesting bill, the one from 2023 is very interesting. It said either the king can take away your titles kind of unilaterally, or Parliament can do it if Parliament sets up a committee and all sorts of things. But Parliament could do it if the king didn't want to do it.
Right.
So, and that was formally tabled a few weeks ago.
Okay.
And that created a couple of very serious issues for the monarchy. Now, I'm from all the reports in the papers and stuff. It seems like they wanted this to go away, and in order for this to go away, he needed to lose his titles.
Yep. That's the price, basically, of maintaining the public's faith in the monarchy, it would seem.
Well, I mean, they already paid Virginia Giuffre £12 million, or it is assumed that they paid £12 million because of the alleged relationship between Andrew and Giuffre, and it has to be alleged because he still says that nothing ever happened. Nothing happened, but I did give her £12 million.
Well, that's the thing. He just gave her £12 million to settle the lawsuit against him for, the whole having sex with a woman who was underage in the United States. Yeah. So, so here's the thing, right?
Here's the thing.
Andrew said a lot that he had been friends with Jeffrey Epstein. And then I'm pretty sure he's told us repeatedly that he cut ties with him after he found out, or that he dialed back their friendship, and that he was, obviously, shocked to hear of these terrible allegations against his friend Jeffrey Epstein. But something happened recently that I think really made everyone sort of say, yeah, okay, that's it. You're done. You're done, Andrew. It's time to go home.
And we can't do that anymore either.
No, it's a good point, actually. And so, yeah, you're right. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. And that was the release of, I think it was the emails to Epstein, right, that he wrote? Yeah.
He it came out in public that a number of things came out kind of over and over again, and it clear this is the end of the road. Either you need to give this stuff, because let's not forget that this all started because he willingly gave up the title of Duke of York. Now, he didn't have it taken away from him. He said, "I am you no longer have to call me Duke of York. You can just call me Prince Andrew." And
I mean, to be fair, I didn't have to call him the Duke of York myself before he did that either.
No,
no one was going to show up at my door and say, you referred to His Royal Highness Prince Andrew, Duke of York, as Andy, and that's illegal. So that clearly that's not the thing. But I do understand that in terms of the media, the BBC and whatnot, there are pretty strict protocols about how members of the royal family are referred to. So he voluntarily relinquishes his claim on the dukedom. And he just has to be called Prince from now on.
But what you were talking about earlier was that the emails had come out. So he had claimed that he had cut off this relationship with Epstein, and then these emails come out magically that turns out he was still in deep contact with him, just like Mandelson was still in contact with him when these claims had come out.
And not just to the point of saying oh man, I hope those charges against you are not true, but flat out saying, here's how we can, here's how you should move forward on this. Here's, I back you to the hilt. Really just flat out, the kinds of things that cannot at all be squared with the idea of, I learned terrible things about him and then I cut ties. But instead, nope, I'm ride or die.
It's the exact opposite. I mean, and so he had told Emily Maitlis, he had told the British public that, he had nothing to do with any of this, and therefore we all needed to drop it. And turns out it was a lie. So once these things started coming out, and then even Sarah Ferguson, his ex-wife, they still lived together, or they did live together up until a few days ago in Royal Lodge, which was his 30-room mansion.
I mean, I hear lodge. I don't think 30-room mansion.
I'm
not gonna lie. I mean, the royal bit probably should have tipped me off.
Yeah,
but yeah, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Royal Lodge
Yep.
is a 30-room mansion because obviously there were bigger palaces around the United Kingdom, which you could literally live. Kensington Palace. There's Hampton Court Palace. I don't know if you're allowed to live in Hampton Court Palace. There's Buckingham Palace. There's Windsor Palace.
That's true.
There's all these other palaces which have Balmoral.
Yep.
All these Holyrood. There's all these other palaces around the UK which have many more rooms, bigger deals. So if you have to stay at Royal Lodge,
I mean, really, that's how you know you're in the doghouse in the royal family. If you got to live at Royal Lodge.
Yeah, with your ex-wife in the 30-room mansion. I mean, they could live in the same building, not see each other for weeks. Anyway, so these not allegations, these emails from him came out verified, and that's kind of which pushed the snowball down the hill.
Yeah, well, I mean, and it was going to, and I cannot help but think that there's a story behind how these things are getting leaked, right? And I cannot help but think that if you're someone in possession of these emails, someone in possession of these documents, and you're able to get them to the press, that you may be staging how you're releasing this information, right? So you put out something that takes down Mandelson. Makes it very, very clear that you set the precedent that someone who is unequivocally in the Epstein files and has lied about it, that person is, has to be pushed out of public life. You can't just sort of leave him in there, right?
Yeah.
And then what happens is we get the emails about Prince Andrew, or I should say the royal formerly known as Prince. Thank you very much. Another deep cut.
There.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think I'm the first person on the internet to ever say that. That has to be true. I'm not going to look it up, but I'm just going to believe that that's the case.
We're all applauding.
Thank you. So, and now we've got Andrew Mountbatten being forced out of his royalty, right?
There it is.
And it makes me think that all of this is establishing a precedent for other people who are in those files to not be in a position to say, or to hand wave it all away and say, oh, it's nothing, when now a royal has lost his titles over it, when, it's clear that so many parts of society are taking this seriously and have to take this seriously.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Listen, I think it's also interesting. I mean, obviously, it leaves him now open. I don't know what kind of protection he has now. Mm-hmm. The royals, in theory, are like the rest of us.
Right.
They are still subject to the law, in theory. However...
Yeah, they're not Donald Trump, for God's sakes.
They're not the president, they're not the king of America.
Uh-huh.
But there is obviously, some kind of, I don't know how to put it, but he was Prince Andrew was in a better position than Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor is going to be in.
Oh, yes.
The U.S. Senate has already sent a message to him as either House Representatives or the Senate. The Senate Democrats, I believe, on the committee investigating the Epstein files.
That's right. Yes.
Already asked him to come to speak to the thing to their committee. Obviously, he doesn't have to do it because he's not a citizen of the United States of America. But another thing that I find interesting is what does this do to the concept of monarchy? Now, just follow me with this one. Monarchy is based on a principle that you can never be king, right? Now, I can't be king. I'm not from here.
That is true.
You can't be king because you're not from here. You're American and Irish.
Also, my people are peasants. Let's be very clear about this.
And that's the other thing. Whenever somebody hears about the concept of monarchy, they probably, I know I did, just like, oh, hang on, how can I be king? And it's like, well, okay, so you have to be born of the last monarch. You're like, oh, well, I'm nowhere near that. I guess it'll never happen, which is part of the mystique of the monarchy, especially in the UK.
Right.
Is that you can never be it because you have to be born into it because that's your title.
There's a fundamental difference between the royals and everybody else, basically.
Yes.
And it's a really good point. This strikes at that very distinction, doesn't it?
It does. So think about it like this. Mm-hmm. Before, and this has happened a couple times, Prince Philip, he was made a prince of the United Kingdom. Right. But he was already a prince of Greek and Denmark.
That's true.
So it was just a prince being transferred to a prince. He's still a prince because he...
Already in the European noble lineage and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure related to Queen Victoria because literally everybody in European royalty is related to Queen Victoria. So she's the Genghis Khan of European nobility.
Yeah, but like, again, he was still birthed of a royal, therefore it's not hard to make that jump. Mm-hmm. But you've now taken away effectively someone's birthright because his mother, Andrew's mother, was the queen.
Right.
He, by definition, should have the title. And it's like taking away your last name. How do you take away your last name?
That's true.
It's difficult, but it's not. But it has now happened. He is no longer Prince Andrew. He is just Andy, right?
That's it. He's Andrew
Mountbatten-Windsor,
right?
Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor.
Mountbatten-Windsor, right? I mean, okay, so he's got a double barrel name, which
well, he's still rich.
Fine. Oh, that is true.
Theory, yes, he's still rich.
That is a good point. And so, but you're right. I mean, it smacks of the French Revolution, right? When the king Louis is stripped of his royalty and is referred to in court proceedings, before they execute him, as Louis Capet.
Louis Capet.
Yeah, Capet. Right? Uh-huh. Yeah. So if you've heard of the Capetians, that's his family name, right? So he is Citoyen Capet, right?
Right.
Exactly. So, and that was like one of the big markers during the French Revolution of like, we are abolishing the monarchy. And now, this guy who used to be referred to constantly as the bon papa and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, no, we're just going to call him by his name, and that's such a huge degradation of his status.
But it's not just his status; it's the status of the entire monarchy. So the question is, now that you can take away the princeship from somebody or whatever you call it, can you apply it to somebody? Can somebody, just a regular person, now be made a prince of the United Kingdom?
I mean, to be fair, right? It was always if you're in a monarchy, it's always within the monarch's like gift, basically, to ennoble people. And in fact, if you look at sort of the origins of feudalism, certainly in this country, well, obviously, and who doesn't spend their time going back to the origins of feudalism, Chris? Yeah. But if you do, what you'll find is that a lot of the old noble families were ennobled in the process of, the Norman conquest, right? Yeah. So you are a rich guy with an army of your own, and you are in service to a lord, and your lord wins. And then the lord's like, I can't run this place on my own. I have no bureaucracy.
Yeah.
We barely write things down, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make you a duke. Congratulations. Now you're going to run this on my behalf, right?
Yeah.
And similarly, knighthoods and whatnot, all like these establishment of titles, creations of sort of noble lineages, a lot of them come back to, well, I got a guy who owes me a favor, and that guy happens to be a monarch. And so, so I think, I don't know, I feel like the danger here is not so much the idea that commoners could be ennobled. And of course, we have only to look at Kate Middleton, who is,
a regular person,
a regular human being who now has a title.
But that's different. Her title is attached to William. She is not of her own volition.
No, that's true. That's a good point.
So that's what I mean. Is like even when they marry in, as Diana did beforehand, she wasn't a princess beforehand.
That's true.
And Kate wasn't a princess before.
But Diana was a Spencer, and the Spencers are a very old noble family, right?
She didn't come in as a princess. Therefore, she's not a princess in her own right.
Yes.
So, like, when she got divorced, she just went back to being Diana as opposed to Princess Diana because she wasn't a princess before being married to the now
exactly.
king.
You're right. She didn't have it in her own right, and that's absolutely a good point. And the same presumably is true of Mrs. Middleton.
You mean Mrs. Windsor?
I do believe Mrs. Windsor. Yes, I'm sorry.
I mean,
you're right. I'm very bad at names. I'm so bad at names.
The Princess of Wales.
I have trouble. I'm sorry, man. I have trouble. I can't update my own brain. Like in my mind, Lizzie 2 is still the queen.
Oh, yeah.
Chucky's just the Prince of Wales, and nobody's moved up a step yet, and it all hasn't happened. I don't know.
You can tell Patrick doesn't deal a lot with cash these days.
No,
he just deals with the card because it's notable when you look at the cash. Like, oh, it's changed.
Right, exactly. A constant reminder of
So, anyways, it's just something interesting to think about, that the fact that the monarchy, if you can take it away, then surely does this now mean you can apply it? And, if you make the monarchy about service and then you say, this person's done a really good job, let's make them a duke,
right,
earl, a viscount, all these things that you just couldn't be made. I mean, like, a regular person couldn't get them. You had to win a war, have a lot of money, buy your way into the aristocracy. That's way back then.
Exactly, right?
So I think it's something interesting to think about.
It's a good point.
Let's just quickly also touch on what's going to be happening in the next few weeks here in Parliament.
Yes. It's time for the floggings. Everyone line up. So we're getting some news from the Treasury, I understand.
Well, yeah. It's hard to explain. But basically, it seems like the Chancellor is really preparing everybody for some kind of income tax increase.
Yeah.
Because, and this is what I find interesting, is that last year they're like, we're not going to do it, don't need to do it, everything's fine, because these morons didn't think, hey, you think Donald Trump might win? Oh, no, that's not possible. No, they're going to vote for Kamala Harris because it's America. And America loves voting for women of color.
Oh, absolutely.
It's chief executive of the country.
If there's one thing America's known for, really, it's electing one not white person in the course of 250 years. So,
America's also really well known for electing women to positions of very high power, specifically in the federal government.
Absolutely.
So they were apparently surprised at the fact that Trump got in, and then Trump decided to take a giant dump all over the world economy, ruining all of their
carefully laid plans,
including not raising income tax. So she's been very, in quotes, not clear, but clear that get ready for at least a 2% increase in income tax, potentially, across the board.
Oh, my God. This is the thing, right? If they had run on, we will do whatever it takes to fix the economy, and we will do our absolute best to insulate the working class and the middle class from unnecessary tax rises. If they'd run on that, that would have been one thing, right?
Yeah.
But instead, this Ming Va's approach that they decided on, right, of we will make extravagant promises and we will carefully not at all say things that could rock the boat.
Yeah.
And we will set ourselves up for horrible failure if anything goes wrong. Oh, no, something somewhere went wrong.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden it turns out that, we're going to have to raise taxes. And everyone knew that they probably would have to do that.
Yeah, since last year.
I don't think anyone really thought that, now with all the news about, the fiscal black holes and all the news about,
headroom and all this stuff.
Right.
Like just to make there's a lot of, words that are being used here, but basically, the government spends a lot of money, and almost all of it is done efficiently.
Yeah.
And I will bring up Kent Council in a second.
An example of someone finding out the hard way that most government spending actually is done efficiently.
Yeah. So there's basically, last year there was a little bit of room in the spending. Basically, that's called this fiscal headroom. I think it was like £10 billion, right?
Yeah.
To play with, and and that all existed. Right. But when Trump's tariffs came in, they ate into that headroom to almost that it doesn't exist. And now they need to find a way to make more headroom in order to continue to fund the country and keep things where they are. Now, that is combined with Labor's first disastrous year. And I'm not trying to be too political here, but
I think that's just an incredibly fair assessment of their first year in power. Like, have you seen the polling on Keir Starmer's support levels?
I haven't.
It really is outstanding. He goes from plus 5% more or less, approval, to now I think some polls have him at negative 48. Less popular than Rishi Sunak ever was by a considerable margin.
Yeah.
And it's not because the right has turned on him. They were never for him in the first place, obviously.
Yeah.
It's because he has decided to piss off every single possible area of support he ever could have had. Are you in the Labour Party? Keir Starmer tells you to fuck off. Are you not a member of the Labour Party, but considering voting for them? Yeah, Keir Starmer doesn't like you either. Keir Starmer has no interest in your political support. Why would he want people to like him or support him?
This is a guy who campaigned on the literal word change.
Yeah.
And people voted for him en masse
Yep.
to the degradation of the party that I work for.
Yep.
We lost a ton of seats.
Yep.
And a lot of people voted Labour in Glasgow and Edinburgh and all across the Central Belt
Yep.
because they wanted to see change. They didn't want to see any more of what the Conservative Party was doing.
Yep.
And the very first thing they did was like, hey, look, guys, listen, I know that you voted for change, but we really need to keep the markets happy. So we're going to make sure that the old and the sick have to get out of bed and start working because we need to, growth, blah, blah, blah. Like I don't know about you, but we may have even said it before on the pod. It's like when they came in, it didn't feel any different. You didn't feel like a dramatic change in the.
They were very careful to change almost nothing. And this is the thing that I find so hard to understand is that, like, from a political standpoint, when you're elected after a disastrous Tory government that has pissed everybody off, that has weakened the British economy, weakened Britain's standing in the world, that has, just a nearly unbroken track record of disastrous incompetence, right?
Yeah.
The one bright spot being, I would say, Boris Johnson at least supported Ukraine when they were invaded by Russia. I will give him that.
Almost instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the rest of it, my God, economic incompetence under Liz Truss, a failure to deal with an economy that's clearly not growing. All of these huge problems are stored up, and any Labour government coming in was always going to have trouble dealing with that, in particular with getting the markets back on side after Liz Truss. And I think the British people were kind of ready for that. They were ready for, like, things weren't going to get better immediately. But instead of seeing we're making the hard choices that will lead to growth later on, we're making the hard choices that will make things better off to solve these problems. Instead, what we've got is we're going to keep on keeping on.
We're going to keep drilling. We're going to keep drilling into like the most vulnerable in society.
Look, this hole we're standing in isn't going to dig itself, Chris. So,
like, shall we get a ladder? No, no need for a ladder. But, we have to wait and see how it goes. But before we finish for this half, we said we're going to bring up Kent. The Council of Kent.
Yes, we were.
And it's a very short story. It goes like this. In the last, in the May local elections, Reform did very well. They took control of the Kent County Council, or the Kent Council. I think it's called Kent County Council. And they came in with the same idea that Trump went in with and Elon Musk went in with. And they were effectively going to we're going to doge it up in Kent.
Yeah,
right?
We're going to cut all that wasteful spending that's clearly going out to, I don't know, the elves. Yeah.
And we're not going to raise taxes.
Yeah. Oh, no.
That's council tax here, right?
Yeah.
So we're not going to raise council tax, and we're going to keep, we're going to keep things going as they are.
We're not going to cut services.
No.
We are going to get cut taxes, and we're going to pay for it all by getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse. If they would say if they were Americans, because that is the most American phrase. And
instead they realized once they got in, you're like, oh, whoops! Turns out that a lot of the money is being spent as it should be. There isn't that much waste, fraud, and abuse as they found in America as well. And they probably can't just start slashing random programs because it's just a council and not the U.S. government. And so they had this really horrible council meeting. And where they basically said, what are we going to do? And the council leader was just like, well, I'm in charge. All of you can F off. They had a huge fight. The meeting got leaked, and then a bunch of them had to resign from the council because they campaigned on ignorance. They don't know how stuff works, right? Which is like the key problem for when you have an outsider coming in from almost any case, and not like kind of stepping in quietly, but it's kicking open the door or walking in with a giant kitchen sink.
Listen up, nerds! I failed middle school science, and I'm here to tell you how to do astronomy.
Like, check it out, nerds! We're gonna clean this place up. Everything's pretty clean. No, it's not. Oh well, why don't you find some dirt? All right, and they go searching for the dirt, and like, I can't find any dirt or very little dirt. What are we gonna do? We might have to raise taxes. And you have to understand, Reform cannot raise taxes. They cannot be the party that's like, the first thing that we did when we come in office is to raise council tax by the appropriate amount. Because it's like you're already hit by a bunch of taxes. You're going to be hit by more taxes. But I think it is just a lesson of both Labor and now Reform. Be careful. like the Ming Vaz approach worked with everything but the tax commitment.
Yeah.
You know, so when we say Ming Vaz, we mean like during the election campaign for Labor, literally they wouldn't take a side. They wouldn't take a stance on just about anything. They just said, we've got the momentum. Nobody wants the Tories. And they came in on 33.4% of the vote.
Yeah. And got a huge majority in Parliament.
A massive majority in Parliament, and then immediately squandered it.
Yeah. Say it really is just one of the most impressive cock-ups, I think, in parliamentary politics, you know, to get a massive majority with a very small plurality of the votes and not come into it and think to yourself, okay, this is an indication of, number one, we don't have a massive amount of support that we could sort of fall back on. We need to work to win people over. That clearly has to happen. Yeah. B, we have the power we need to do that. We have a massive majority. If we are clear on what we're doing and why we're doing it, we should be able to make sure that we can pass the bills we need to pass in order to fix the things that need fixing, in order to get people on side. And we have 5 years to do it. Let's get to work. And instead, it has been 18 months of faffing about.
Yeah,
you know, of
tripping over your own feet.
Just amazingly, right? Like we're gonna make people at the lowest level of society suffer.
That was the first shot, by the way.
Right? Yeah, that's job one is let's hurt disabled people.
Let's punch the disabled in the face.
Exactly. Right.
We are labor.
Yeah, and I don't know why they did not understand what that was going to do. And then they didn't even have the ability to go through with it because, of course,
their backbenchers stopped them.
Right. Because nobody becomes a Labour MP to do that.
Yeah.
It's just a 2/3 majority in Parliament, and they weren't able to do it because there was that level of defection.
Yeah.
It's just cack-handedness.
Well, it's also a lack of party loyalty. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. So we're going to take a little break.
All right.
And we'll be right back after no messages. And we're back.
All right. That was a lovely break. I feel ready to raring to go. That's how I feel. Yeah.
Do you want to do that again?
I do.
We're not going to do it again. We're not going to do it.
We're not. Damn. Oh man. Yeah, that's true. Everyone knows you can't edit audio.
You can't edit
on the
audio
internet
on a pre-recorded podcast.
That's how you know. That's how you know that this is all the pure, unfiltered truth that we are speaking. People.
Almost always.
This is exactly every time I screw up saying something. That's a little sign to you of our authenticity. And our speaking our truth.
And probably also a sign that we're not AI.
Yeah, that's true. Well, actually, I don't know about that, Chris, because I feel like making horrible, ridiculous blunders and is pretty AI. That's pretty on brand for it. Like, you know.
No, that's only when it pumps out information. I've heard AI that imitates what we're doing right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Basically, somebody
blathering on the internet.
Yeah.
Damn.
I've had friends who work in the field, and apparently you can pop in like a paper into some thing, and AI reads the paper and then basically has it back and forth like it's a podcast, with even intakes of breath and stuff. It would be indistinguishable.
Wow.
And it I just read this paper from Dr. Armshaw. It's really great. Yeah, that's talking about game theory. What do you think about that? Yeah, game theory. And then they would take like the general points from your paper and start going over it. And, like sounding like it was a real thing.
I mean, okay, so getting the right intonations, getting the right sound, like I could see AI being able to do that, right? But is it able to say anything with cutting observation, Chris? Is it able to offer trenchant analysis?
I don't know. Like think about it like this. If you don't know what you're talking about and you're listening to this, you're just going to just listen. You're not going to be like, hang on, that intonation was a little bit off, you know?
Right.
Which brings us to the next issue.
Yeah.
Because AI, we've not really talked about it that much. I am not anywhere near as well read about AI as I should be. I've only just started.
Mm-hmm. Among the many things that I am not a doctor in, AI and technology is one of those things. It's top of the list.
I'm very much at the bottom of the of the peak of ignorance here when it comes to AI. But the short version is that there are certain things that are like self-evident. Mm-hmm. AI has a lot of potential when it comes to science. You know, if I want to find, a very specific genome or something, and I need AI to help, that's fine. You know, if I want to help solve cancer, right?
Which seems like a good thing to use AI for, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're using it for a task that is relatively bordered, right? Where like there's a clear way to be able to tell whether an answer is right or wrong. There's a clear way to be able to like tell whether or not it's a thing that makes sense, right? It seems to me that AI can be a useful adjunct to a human doing work. What it doesn't strike me as is a thing that can replace a human doing work.
And there it is. There's two halves of AI, right? There's the half that's like an assistant to science,
right?
And then there's the half that's supposed to replace humans.
Yeah.
And it's the second half that's getting all the money.
Well, of course, because that is what the people with money really want more than anything. There was an episode of The Simpsons, Chris.
Ooh, which one?
Yeah, but I can't remember exactly which one. No, I do remember. It's the
where Bart goes to
what?
Where Bart goes to boot camp?
No, it's not that one. Interestingly enough,
okay,
maybe that was the B plot for it. Actually,
no, go.
All right, no, it's the one where like there's the strike at the nuclear power plant, right? And Homer like ends up leading his union in a strike action, and
they have the plant, and we have the power.
Yeah, oh, exactly, right. Yeah, Lisa has her song, and it's fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so there's a whole bit where, Mr. Burns has an extended fantasy sequence where he imagines what would happen if they got rid of all the workers and replaced them with robots. And it's delightful. And obviously what ends up happening is the robots end up trying to kill him. And Smithers has to run away, cradling Mr. Burns in his arms. It's a delightful sequence.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is the overarching dream, I feel like, of a large number of techno-capitalists who really just sort of think, I want servants, but I want servants I could control so thoroughly that they couldn't possibly rebel, right?
Yeah.
And that's the promise of AI for people like Elon Musk. That's the promise of AI for people like Peter Thiel. What they're looking for is control. Yeah. And they're not going to get it. They're just not going to get it because AI doesn't work like that, and it really can't.
Well, this is the other issue is that they use AI for like drive-through in America. Right? They use AI for telephones and when you do type stop somebody online. And I remember saying a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
What if they start this is gonna have a huge knock-on effect. I was talking with one of my friends, and he is like on the other side of this. He's like he's thinking of this like the Industrial Revolution, and he's like the farmers left the fields and they came to the cities, so they left those jobs and they came to those jobs. And I'm like, hang on, if AI takes away the jobs of, let's say, like middle management, right?
Yes.
And at this point, it was theoretical. If they take away the jobs of middle management, where are they going to go? And he's just like, well, just like in the Industrial Revolution, they're going to go get other jobs. I'm all like, but there are no other jobs.
Yeah,
there's no other factory. There's no other field. Is middle management supposed to go back to farming, like to make that money? And he's just like, no, it's just he kept on repeating Industrial Revolution.
Oh no!
And I was just like, hang on, I'm thinking about this. I'm like, well, but at least it's just a theory. Until last week, Amazon cut it's like 14,000. Staffers, employees.
Yeah, no, a bunch of people in the tech sphere have lost their jobs. And this, it should be noted, comes out after a report that looked at the implementation of AI in corporate structures, right? Specifically looking, okay, what are the companies that are implementing AI? How are they doing it? What are they trying to do with it? And most importantly, is it working? Are they getting any savings? Are they, getting any extra profits? And what they found is, for the most part, AI doesn't really do anything, but it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
So basically, what they're just sort of seeing is that all of these companies have been investing in the use of AI, but haven't been getting a return on it.
Yes, that's right.
And that is probably an indication of people attempting to use AI for things that AI should not be used for. And it's also an indication that I think a lot of the hype behind AI is starting to unravel a little bit.
And we should probably talk about briefly the AI bubble.
Oh, yes.
So again, we're not experts in this at all. The general kind of broad strokes here is that AI requires incredibly powerful chips, microchips to work.
Yes.
Those chips need to work in a data center.
Exactly.
Where they collect trillions of bits of data.
Yep.
And then they figure out how to solve problems. And in solving the problems, they then create the thing like ChatGPT. Those chips cost a lot of money.
They sure do.
They cost a lot of money.
They sure do.
A company called NVIDIA.
Oh, yes. NVIDIA
makes the chips.
Yes, man. If you have been a gamer at any point in the last 20 years, then you have played a video game where the loading screen involved, NVIDIA.
The green and black.
Exactly, right?
NVIDIA logo, because it was
because
I think it did
that was
graphics.
Well, exactly right. It started off as like graphics cards and whatnot, and it just ended up being like, because graphics are this incredibly intensive computing problem, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, if the maths behind doing like video game art are insane, Chris. You have to you have to be super good at linear algebra so that you can model things in more dimensions than humans can think in.
I did not know that part.
It is absolutely true. Like I'm gonna use a term here, quaternion.
Oh, wow.
That is a type of number, Chris. And yeah, exactly, right? Although, weird side note, Alice in Wonderland, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the whole the March Hare, the Mad Hatter, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
There is a theory that Mad Hatter's Tea Party is actually making fun of that branch of mathematics.
Really?
Yeah, because you see, the guy who wrote it, the Reverend Dodson. He was a mathematician.
Right.
There's just a ton of math jokes in Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, well,
and so,
okay.
Yeah, but so I bring that up only as an example of just like how fearsome the maths are for this kind of thing. So if you're making computer chips that can handle those kind of intensely fast and very, very difficult calculations, well, that's exactly the kind of chip you're going to want to use for things like AI. So it's no surprise that NVIDIA and AMD and these other companies sort of like come out of that area of computing.
Yeah. Yeah. And so basically those companies make these chips. They've made a lot of money making these chips. Mm-hmm. And now companies like Microsoft and a bunch of other ones need to buy those chips in order to power their AI. And, Google has AI, Microsoft has AI.
Yep.
And then there's the free AI like ChatGPT. And then there's the ones that make fake videos like Sora. Which one of the MAGA folk on my Facebook feed actively posted a AI video with Sora in there. He doesn't know what Sora is, and he just thought it was real. It was really racist as well. Oh, so
why am I not at all surprised to hear any of the things you just said, Chris?
I am not surprised either. I'm wondering if I should tell him.
I feel like you should probably mention the whole, you see that Sora thing?
Hey, that's AI. That's the end of this. That's the end of this, because like nothing else is going to get through to you.
Yeah.
And this is why they think AI is a bubble. Not only because these companies are pouring billions of dollars into these centers, into the development of chips, into the development of AI, and getting nothing near like that back.
Yeah.
This is kind of like the central story of like the bubble is that NVIDIA wants people to buy their chips, and so so they basically say, "Hey, Microsoft, do you want to buy our chips?" Mm-hmm. And they say, "Yes, but we don't have the $100 million to buy your chips." Mm-hmm. And NVIDIA says, "I can sort that out for you.
We have so much money because we've been making so much bank selling these chips. We've just got a massive war chest." And so, I'll lend you that money.
So how about I just give you $100 million to buy these chips?
We'll invest billions of dollars into some tech startup that's going to buy our chips from us, right?
Yeah.
And if it works, then we will have helped to create the people we're creating a market that is going to buy our stuff, and this is going to be brilliant. But it does basically kind of mean paying people to buy your things, which is wild.
And I think in the bigger macro picture here is that, think about it like this. If somebody says, I want you to buy this phone, I'm going to give you the money to buy the phone.
Yeah.
Right? So basically a phone company gives you the money to buy the phone. Mm-hmm. You get the voucher from the company, then you buy the phone, the company gets the money back. Mm-hmm. But what's happening in the markets is that when I give them the voucher voucher or the $100 million, they're like, oh, look, we've just made all this money.
Yeah, exactly.
We've done very well. Hurrah.
There you go.
So
yeah.
So the market is doing better. And then when I buy the chips off of NVIDIA, NVIDIA is doing better because someone's buying their chips. It's not somebody. It's basically taking the same bucket of water and passing it between the same people.
Yes.
So that's kind of one of the fears of what's happening right now. I mean, if you look at the stock market, if you look at the tech space, all of the growth is coming from there. Because on the other end, it's not coming from anywhere else.
Yes, that is very true.
Yeah.
And this is one of the weird things here, right? Like this is, I mean, and when don't take investment advice from us. This is not financial advice.
Planners.
Exactly, in any conceivable sense. That said, Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, has admitted, this is probably a bubble. And I think the consensus in the marketplace at this point is that, it's probably a bubble. That said, there are some reasons to think that the bubble is not going to be like the housing crisis of 2008
because there's different kinds of bubbles.
Well, that's the thing, right? So like there's like, for instance, the dot-com bubble, right?
Yes.
Of the early thousands. That was a situation where you have this huge overinvestment basically in information technology, and it is a bubble, and a whole lot of investments go bad and people lose money. But at the end of it, you are left with the digital infrastructure that gives us, the internet, right? And the railroad bubble in Britain in the 1800s, right? People are building railroads left and right, railroads of the future. Oh my God, you guys, we've got to build these railroads. And then they overbuild railroads to places where there's just not demand for it.
Yeah.
And a bunch of companies go under and people lose their investments. But you got a bunch of physical infrastructure left over, right?
Of railroads.
Yeah, not all of them survive, obviously, but there are bubbles that leave a lasting impression in the physical universe that may end up being good for society, even if they're bad for individual investors. One downside to this particular bubble, Chris, is you mentioned those chips, and I think you were mentioning them for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long do those chips last before you got to replace them?
About as long as a mayfly.
Oh,
the chips burn out really, really quickly. So you need to consistently replace them. Which
somewhere between 2 and 5 years, right?
2 and 5 years. So if you're listening to this on a phone that you haven't bought the past 2 or 5 years, that's not a very long time. Yep. So, and then you have the other issue is, we need the raw materials to build those chips.
That is true.
Where are you getting those from?
Yeah. Like the amount of resources that's necessary to keep this thing going, it's problematic, right? Because if this is a bubble where without constant growth, if investors aren't willing to keep piling money in on this, right? If they're not willing to keep investing in new chips and new chips and new chips in order to keep these data centers running, then at a certain point, it's just going to become stranded assets, isn't it? I mean, it's going to be a situation where there's just so much money necessary to keep this thing going, and the profits just aren't there to justify it.
Well, and it's just how do you just justify it? How do you make money off this? And apparently, one way to make money off this is by firing all your mid-level management, which is wild when you think about it, because you're talking about people who created the environment for AI, thinking that AI is going to make everything easier for them, and now they're like, well, no, thank you. Amazon can function better because Amazon fired 14,000 people because they're going to rely more on AI. So
now that's interesting.
So that's one way to save money. But then, and this is a question that I ask in my econ class all the time. What do you do with the people? So congratulations, Amazon now has more money or making more money. I'm sure their investors are very happy, but 14,000 people have to find another job.
Yep.
And it's not just at Amazon. All across the tech space, people are losing their jobs to AI. Because AI can't unionize.
Yeah, well, of course.
Unless you're going to talk about there are people who believe that superintelligence will kill us all, which is probably a separate conversation for a separate day, which is, I don't think we should just discount it. Because there's the kind of AI that we have on Star Trek that is Majel Barrett, and she's a friend. And she helps you, but she's not going to kill you.
Yeah.
And then there's the Butlerian Jihad.
The Butlerian Jihad?
Which is from Dune.
Oh, I see.
In the Dune universe, there are no computers.
Right.
Because AI got too big and tried to kill everyone. And so they had this big interstellar war with AI.
Oh, I see. Okay. God, that's I think I mean I'm not an expert, but I think there's a similar thing in the lore of Warhammer 40K actually.
Warhammer 40K also has the golden age of man. They had the golden age of technology, and then Warhammer that all disappears. Because AI got too smart, and then you can't have thinking machines. Yeah, and don't deep dive any more into Warhammer because it is
we're nerds enough. We're nerds enough.
But like there is a real serious. There's a serious conversation between like the billionaires want to build super intelligence for some unknown reason, and everyone else is like, have you ever read Jurassic Park? Have you ever seen Jurassic Park? Have you seen Terminator or The Matrix?
Yep.
Like all these kids who are quote unquote red pilled, hey, genius. The whole movie was about fucking brilliant machines that kill us all.
Yeah, but these are the same people, Chris, who think that Fight Club is all about how awesome it is to be in a fight club. So I mean, like, yeah, that's the thing. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't explain semiotics to it. So
So it's something that we'll keep our eye on.
Heyo. Yeah.
But it is wild. And let's take this last portion of the show to talk about a small event that's happened in the United States.
That's true. There was a thing. I think it was on Tuesday. It was Tuesday, wasn't it?
Tuesday.
Yeah. Tuesday in November.
Tuesday in November. America. Yeah. Tuesdays in November are very important.
Yes.
And as we were saying, you heard it here first. Democrats overall, not doing well. But individual Democrats, are killing it. Yeah. Because last Tuesday, there were all these effective local elections around the United States.
Exactly.
There was Prop 50 in California to redistrict to counter the Texas and other GOP redistricting. There was measures in Georgia to get the Public Service Commission.
Exactly.
Which is about energy.
Yep.
There was Virginia.
Gubernatorial elections in Virginia and New Jersey.
And as Patrick is actually from New York, he can say the last one because I know he wants to.
Aww. Yeah, there was a mayoral election in New York City, which was won by a Democratic socialist, Zohran Mamdani.
Mamdani.
Yep. He is just the most smiling looking guy, like basically. Like he has the amazing affect of just being like, hi, I'm a guy in his 30s. I got a beard. I got a nice smile. And I don't come off as like a rampaging prick, and that put him in clear contrast to his main rival in that election, Andrew Cuomo, who has no beard, is 70 years old and just looks like such a prick. Oh my God! Yeah. Like in everything he does, and he does things that are prickish.
Yeah, he's done things and allegedly done things that are horrible.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
So as we were saying, basically all across these elections, it wasn't just that the Republicans came in second; they were a country mile behind. I mean, so we'll start with Mamdani. He won by 50.4% in New York.
Yeah,
and so people are like Curtis Sliwa, who was the Republican candidate. They're like, if you had jumped out of the race, Cuomo would have won. It's like no. You got more than 50% of the vote. Therefore, you two lost combined.
And on one of the biggest turnouts in decades. Like this was 2 million people who voted in this mayoral election.
Yeah.
That is more people than there are in several American states.
Yeah.
So this is the thing. It was huge turnout. So it wasn't like, oh, well, he was able to, get the hardcore out and that was what did it. Nope. Huge turnout. And he gets a majority and he beats Cuomo by effectively beats Cuomo by literally whatever Sliwa got.
It was almost 10 points.
Yeah.
Because he beats Cuomo. But then because I think the total was like 48 or 49% for Cuomo, for the Cuomo Sliwa ticket.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. But it wasn't just him. It was Abigail Spanberger.
Yes.
In Virginia.
Yep.
There was another race.
Mickey Sherrill in New Jersey.
In New Jersey.
And that one I want to point out, actually. So, like, Spanberger winning, this was known. This was going to happen. And one of the reasons being that the Republicans have not covered themselves in glory in Virginia under their current GOP governor. The massive shutdown really affects Virginia because so many voters in Virginia work for the federal government and are currently unemployed and not getting paid. So that wasn't going to help, right? And also the person who was running against Spanberger, one by the name of
Winsome Ellis.
Earl Sears?
Winsome Earl Sears.
Yeah. So yeah, she was not a great candidate.
Why is that?
Oh, well, I mean, so like she did not paint herself as a moderate. She really went hard on the Trump wagon.
Because she was a lieutenant governor of Virginia.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, and if she jumped on the Trump train, like I'll be as diplomatic as I can. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Like he's not your friend. He's never going to come to the party. He's never coming to the picnic.
Yeah.
He's not. If he does, he's not bringing anything.
Yep.
He's done to actually steal stuff.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, you're going to be holding nothing but just a burlap sack where your clothes used to be. And you're sitting there staring at the wall as no one's answering your phone calls anymore. Congratulations, you fucked yourself.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing is, like, basically, Trump, of course, is the kind of person who, if he doesn't think you're going to win, in no way will he do anything for you, right? Because he if he is going to back someone, it's because they're already going to win.
Yeah,
that's the whole idea. Because if you back someone and they don't win, he looks weak, and he is smart enough to know that. And yeah.
Which is what drove him, of course, because the next day, obviously, he claimed that these are all Democrat wins anyway, and I wasn't on the ballot.
Yeah,
but, we need to address just quickly the fact that America is in its second month of the shutdown.
This is now the longest shutdown that has ever happened, and
more importantly than the already bad shutdown, it's now affecting flights.
Yep.
So flights,
10% of flights are getting canceled.
Have to be canceled.
Yep. And it's going up from there, I think, to 20% over the next few days.
Yeah.
So this is right before Thanksgiving. This is right before the Christmas season.
Yeah.
This is the time when Americans travel to see family.
Those who can afford the food for Thanksgiving, because the SNAP benefits, which were almost turned back on, were turned off by the Supreme Court because Trump and the MAGA movement doesn't want children and the poor to eat.
Well, they're working really hard to make children starve, Chris, which is not normally a thing you would say about a party in a democratic system. Normally, children starving is the kind of thing you work really hard to prevent.
Well, you have these things called voters, and voters tend to remember stuff. Now, they don't remember everything and notoriously have short memories. However, when they remember that those 2 months where they didn't know if they were going to get fed or not.
Yeah, well, they remember looking at their kids, and the kids were hungry, and they're like, "I'm sorry, I have nothing. We can't eat tonight."
Like, I'm sorry, we have to fight for gender-neutral gendered bathrooms.
Yeah, the really important thing is to make sure that trans people are treated less than human. As long as that happens, who needs food?
Or maybe we focus on building that ballroom.
Yeah. Oh, good point. I really feel like every democratic republic needs a winter palace, Chris.
Yeah. So exactly. So that is
where else are you going to hold your revolutions? I ask you.
That is the scene under which these most recent elections have taken place.
Yeah.
Is that Trump already massively unpopular across the country, and this is the first time to have a referendum on him. And normally in a year like this, a year after an election, nobody would really care.
Yeah.
I mean, Eric Adams was elected the year after. I think he was elected the year after Biden was elected.
Yeah, exactly.
And a person whose name you did not know until he got busted for being a shill for Turkey.
An incredible criminal / foreign agent of the Republic of Turkey. My God, Eric Adams just.
So it is definitely a referendum on him and a referendum on ICE, a referendum on the policies. And the question is, first, of course, to Mamdani, if he's won, and obviously he's put together what seems to be a pretty decent transition team, because the problem now is that you have to do it.
Yeah.
You've won, and we're talking about one step out of place, and people will be digging everywhere.
Yep.
That's it. So he had promised to have free buses in Manhattan. He promised to have cheaper rents. He promised to have city-run grocery stores. I think that's if he can get the grocery stores off the ground. I think that's it.
Well, that's the thing. What he's promised is a pilot program on that. And honestly, that's the kind of thing that should be doable. That's not some pie in the sky, crazy, come the revolution stuff. This is the kind of thing that happens in Europe. Like the free buses thing. This happens in cities. There are lots of cities that have this.
There's free buses in the UK right now. I'm sorry, in London right now. There's a super loop that uses the Silvertown Tunnel.
That's so baller. That's so great. But this is the thing, right? So it's one of the absolute oddities of politics in the West in general that so much of the center left has been about telling everyone we can't have better things. Things cannot get better. Anyone who says we could try something new to make things better is lying and wrong, right?
Yeah.
And to the point where if Zoran Mamdani is able to come in and do some of the things that he said he's going to do, and they work, it's almost an existential threat, I think, to some of the leadership in the Democratic Party. And I think it's no surprise that when Zoran Mamdani won the Democratic primary, right, that Cuomo, whom he beat in that primary, immediately felt compelled to run and just eviscerate his own political career, light himself on fire, because this was a repudiation of his brand of politics, which is put me in charge, I will do nothing, but I'll kind of be an asshole, and that's it, because I'm a Democrat and you should vote for me.
Yeah, I mean, this is both a referendum on Trump and MAGA. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the Democrats didn't endorse him. And, I, up until a few minutes ago, maybe an hour ago, I realized maybe why. You don't want Hakeem Jeffries endorsing you if you're trying to get that electorate.
That's a good point.
Don't want,
Chuck Schumer
on your side, because you're a democratic socialist, and these guys are they don't have the socialist backing or the socialist credit. So the other issue is that the Democratic establishment, the party, was very hesitant to even try to get on board. Letitia James is not.
That's true.
James wasn't.
That is true.
But because it is let's try to fix things. And we're going to piss off billionaires. And if we piss off billionaires, they're not going to fund us anymore, and they might leave. And you're listen, if you want to rip your kids out of school, stick them in some school in Dubai, or stick them in some school in, someplace that doesn't charge you anything. That's fine.
Leave New York. It's New York City. It is the place that is just one of the nicest places to live if you're rich.
I mean, they built those ridiculous skyscrapers just for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Those ridiculous tiny skyscrapers that wave side to side because they're horribly built. And if you're inside it, have you heard these stories about these?
Yeah,
and the water sloshing.
Well, that's it. Part of it is that that's you kind of, if it's too rigid, right? If there were, God forbid, an earthquake, or if there was a really strong wind, things could crack, things could break. You want some flexibility. That said, I don't think buildings need to be that fucking tall.
Well, they don't need to be that skinny either. I mean, and you're basically buying a random floor in the sky. I wouldn't feel safe in one.
Yeah.
They're $55 million.
Yeah.
And so the argument is that, if he raises the taxes on the rich by, an inch, then they have to, take their golden jet and fly somewhere else.
Obviously, they'll all immediately do that, but now they won't.
I mean, and the Daily Show has this really fun compilation of people are leaving New York because of the taxes that went all the way back to 2009. And they're saying the same thing here again, Labor Party.
Of course,
they're not everyone's afraid to raise taxes because the rich are going to run away. And I'm
right.
When did we become a society that's hey, so who's thinking about the billionaires?
Yeah,
the billionaires paying taxes. I'm happy to pay more taxes myself, but let's not hurt the billionaires.
You can't ask the billionaires to shoulder any additional burden, because they are. But that's the thing. It's the politics of, and I think you put your finger on it, right? A lot of center-left parties made their peace in the 1990s and the 2000s with the idea that, who was it in the Labour Party who said he was, thoroughly comfortable with, people getting rich as long as they pay their taxes, right? I don't think it was Mendelsohn, but it was someone in the Blair government, basically. I am intensely comfortable with people getting rich as long as they pay their taxes. But I think what happened is that if you let Well, if you let really, really rich, if you just sort of like, say, go for it, we're thoroughly behind you. This is great. Get rich, pay people, contribute to the economy. This is great. And it is to a good degree. But then when rich people get really rich, they can turn that money into political power.
Yeah.
And then they can start doing things like making clear, well, we'll just stop contributing to your party unless you do the things that we want done. Because after all, we could just as easily give to the other party if they'll give us what we want. And so all of a sudden, instead of parties competing for votes, now they're competing for financial backers.
But that's kind of always been the case. Parties are organizations that, they produce very little but need a lot of money to do it.
Well, true, but
yes, that was Angela Rayner who said that.
It was Angela Rayner who said that.
I'm relaxed about the rich if they pay tax, which makes sense because as long as they're paying tax, and there's an argument about, should there be billionaires and stuff, right?
Right.
But, the issue is that we're so afraid to raise taxes on the rich, given that the greatest period of growth in America was during the 1950s and 1970s, where the basic rate of tax was almost 91%.
Well, that's the thing where you had an idea that you could totally be rich. You can't be a billionaire.
He didn't stop Howard Hughes from being a rich, crazy.
He was as crazy as he wanted to be. He could keep as many jars of pee next to his bedside as he felt like. That man wanted for nothing. This is the thing. Like, if being rich enough to be Howard Hughes is not rich enough for you, right?
And then what?
Yeah.
No, but think about
that. That's when you start dreaming about having an AI sex bot, basically. That's
When speaking of AI sex bots, Elon Musk apparently going to be the world's first trillionaire.
Oh yeah, he got that deal. He got that pay deal with Tesla. I'm gonna put my cards on the table here, Chris. He's not getting that money because the deal is, he doesn't get that $1 trillion unless he hits a bunch of metrics with Tesla, right?
Right.
And those metrics are laughably out of reach.
Yeah.
They're just not, literally not going to happen. To the point where I think they have to sell millions and millions and millions more cars than they currently do.
Yeah.
And this is at a time when their sales are falling pretty drastically.
Because of him.
Well, yes. And the thing is, the explanation for why they're offering him all this money in Tesla stock is that, he's the only thing that can keep Tesla going. And they're right about that because ultimately Tesla isn't a car company in the same way that Toyota or Ford or, Vauxhall are.
Yeah.
Right? What they are is a shitcoin. They are a meme stock.
Yeah.
They are a company whose valuation is entirely based around the idea that Elon Musk is a once-in-a-generation genius who is going to bring them all to the moon. And any day now, they're going to bring out the robots. Just you wait.
Yeah.
Just you wait. And it's all, so much of it is vaporware, And you could tell because, what was aside from the Cybertruck, Chris?
Yeah.
When was the last time they brought out a model car?
A new car?
Yeah.
I don't know. When you think about it.
I think it's been it's coming up on 10 years if it isn't 10 years already.
It is. It is and the Cybertruck was a bit of a wobble because it's such a danger. It's not even allowed in Europe.
Yeah. It's clearly ridiculous.
It's clearly
it's a fucking DeLorean, dude. It's a fucking DeLorean in 5 years. The Back to the Future 17. It's gonna take place. It's all gonna be in a Cybertruck.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, I think that's. I think that we should end it here because just on we'll keep an eye on the trillionaire situation.
Yeah, exactly right.
Because there's, again, as with every week, there's so much more we could talk about. We got to a lot of it, but here's one final thought.
Yeah.
I want you to think about it, and then we'll discuss it in a different time. There are protests outside of ICE offices. Yeah?
Yep.
Where are the counter protests? Where are the Proud Boys? Where are the 3%? Where are all these people who are, flying their American flags upside down or whatever? I mean, there's those Patriot dudes walking around with tan pants and whatnot.
Yep.
But where are the counter protests from the guys that you normally would think would be outside?
I have an answer for that, Chris.
Do you have an answer for that? Well, why don't you answer it on the short?
Ooh, I see. We got a cliffhanger.
We have a cliffhanger. So,
yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
Sounds good. All right.
But as always, I'm Dr. Silverstein.
I'm Dr. Armshaw.
And we're doctors.
Not doctors.
Good night.